Hi, everybody. I came across a dilemma this morning whether or not to speak on somebody about the health of their child and the dangers that were posed towards a child. There was a little girl, this was cute. Was cute. She was about 3 or 4. Um, she had a Shetland pony and she had a popsicle on the back of her pony, and she tried to reach to feed it some. And I thought, well, hey, that's cool. Um, I used to give my horse cold things in the summer just to see how she'd react. They're not really big on it. But anyway, so she gets off the pony, goes in front of the pony, and gives the pony a lick, takes a lick, and then tries to take a lick at the same time as the pony kind of bites, which could be rather dangerous anyway. But the dangers of the whole thing, I told him, I said, now that child needs Ivermicticen, if you know what that is, for worming horses. And from dogs, cats, horses, chickens, pigs, any livestock you're working with carry parasites that sometimes are alien to human beings, but the human being can host these animals, such as tapeworm and hookworm and roundworm. And it's why we worm our horses twice a year, typically in the spring and the fall, to guard against these things. Well, anyway, so I wrote, now that child needs this, you know, and she wrote back, take my poor attitude and go. And it's like, well, I used to work for a vet, and no, I'm not gonna. People need to know the dangers. If she'd rather get likes over the health of other people seeing these types of things. When I see little dogs licking little babies, and I cringe. It just is. Or people, um, I don't know, whatever, what the ever. Just a minute, excuse me. A kid's gonna get parasites, period. So if they don't care, maybe they don't worm their horses. Maybe it won't live over 20. A lot of animals in the care of humans don't live very long. So their kid probably won't either, the way they're going. But no, so I wrote something more again. It's like, no, this is for other people. I'm not worried about the likes. I'm worried about the health of people. And like I said, look cute as can be. Well, if you're worried about likes over other people's health, even other people with their pets and their children, you have some screws loose. Or you're just damn right evil and you don't even care. So either way. So poor attitude? No. At least I'm not poor in spirit and in my mind when it's concerning people's health. I care about their health more than I do about the likes on some stupid video that is not as cute as people think it is. Not when I seen that shit. It's like, no, forget it. If you want to give the horse a popsicle, give the horse a popsicle and give your child one too. You don't have them share one, for Christ's sake, or for that child's sake. Yeah, that's better. Excuse me, God. Yeah, fucking people. And then other people promoting magic and some shit I saw today. It's like, whatever. These people. Oh, so I'm a little warm. You might hear the sound of my fan. I thought, well, it's not quite hot enough to put on the air conditioner, but a little fan won't hurt. So I hope it's not too noisy. I had been out working outside, and It was 71 degrees at 8 o'clock this morning. That's pretty warm. So, not unusually so, but for this time of year. But warm enough anyway. So, yeah. That kind of irked me. I really didn't expect it. It's just like, just let it stand and shut up so I can inform people, you know. I didn't just pull this out of my hat. Why do you think there's wormers for animals and people? Yeah. Or that people are, I wonder how many people detox for parasites and don't realize where they got the parasites to begin with. There's one for you. So, anyway. So, I don't really know what I was going to talk about today. That's really what's on my mind. I can't believe that she was stupid enough to say that I have a poor attitude. My attitude's wonderful. The video was as cute as can be. Your ignorance and lack of concern for other people is what I'm concerned about. Poor attitude? At least I'm not fucking evil. So, yeah, take, I'll take, I'll stand. You can say I have a poor attitude, and I'll tell you you're evil. How about that? How's that for a trade? So, yeah, I'll stand with my poor attitude. I don't like horses or kids, and I didn't think it was cute. It was cute. Disgustingly and disturbingly so. Like I say, it's just like when I see newborn babies with dogs laying next to them, when their fur even carries parasites. Are you fucking kidding me? Or cats next to children. It's like, you know, yeah, I had dogs when my kids were small, not sleeping in their bed, not licking their faces. I would have cremated my dog if it had touched my child's face. I would have mutilated that fucking thing. That's how serious it is. Well, actually, my dogs knew better. That pony looked hesitant. It really did. It looked like I don't want to lick that, you know. But it did just to kind of um, be cute for its little master. And I could see even the horse knew better. It really did. It didn't want to share that popsicle with that girl. So anyway, that's true. You can go look at it if you want. I'll tell you the name of the people just a minute here, if you want. It's on Facebook. Yeah, the Facebook lights. The Pony Pals family mentioned me in a comment. Yeah. Well, thank you for the mention, dumbass. So then when I tell them what the actual physical health situation is, just like everything else, people would rather ignore me and keep doing their shit, even if it harms other people. Wow, somebody said I am officially retired from truthing. This is goodbye. This is my last post. Y'all take care. Yeah, you too. It's not for the faint of heart, is it? Wow. One of my friends said, And it is sort of true, unfortunately. Apparently, I have never had any friends or family. Luckily, I am happy with this. Never is a big word, somebody wrote. True. This person offered to buy me a house. You know, I know he's lonely. Let's see, what does this say? Stop telling res kids to get an education when you hire your unqualified family over them. Oh, bam. That's true. As a matter of fact, our whole government should be nothing but Native Americans. They own the country. What what's fitting over in Israel? They can do what they want on their land, can't they? But you think it's fair that the natives aren't in charge of their own country? Yeah, it's sickening. And there's some of us that like John Levy had put or Levy had put through Saturday night, I think, um, some photos and talking about Mount Rushmore. I've been there twice. Um, looks like it had been changed. What they used to call the six grandfathers um, has now turned into four forefathers, but some of their faces still look native. It looks like they were gone over with concrete and rearranged. And even in the eyes of a Native American are a lot different than the European culture. They have a lot more sorrow in them. Um, they just do. And yeah, I wonder why. But yeah, other people know, like I do, these things have been jacked from the people, and I'm not going to shut up till it's rectified. And I don't wish peace on anybody that thinks that that's not fair. No. There's a lot of white people that feel just like I do too, and their love for the Native American people, and we're not backing down. So we've had close friends, and we've seen how they suffered and why they did, and they still are. And people don't realize. Do you know there's some reservations to this day that don't even have clean drinking water, and we're sending money over to other countries so they can rebuild their country and support their elderly? Yeah, so it's a pretty big deal. It really is. Geez, it never occurred to me to take a bite out of the same thing my horse was eating at the same time. People. Anybody here think it's okay for animals and children to be sharing food? It's a little different if you're little and you don't know any better. Like I used to share cookies with my dog, but I was raised by some pretty brain dead people that didn't know a lot about animal science, animal husbandry, you know. But when somebody that does tells you different, you should keep your big mouth shut. It's not about the likes to me. In fact, I wouldn't even put that up. I would have been thoroughly ashamed of my dumb ass if I had watched my child do that with an animal. Or how many people are guilty? You pet your dog, you pet your cat, and then go fix food without washing your hands. How about you eat something and then pet your animal without washing your hands, and then that bacterium on their fur turns into feces, so you can just smear it all over their body and then they can lick it. That sounds like a good idea too, doesn't it? Yeah. And then they call what they call MRSA super staph infection because of people's filthy ways. Yeah. I'm just trying to inform people. And then I get like poor attitude. Whatever. Maybe the kid will grow up a little more intelligent after she detoxes. She'll get a little older and think, boy, was I ever stupid sharing my popsicle with that pony. You know, I sure got sick from it. Yeah. Because there's a lot of information out there about parasite cleanse. But people, where'd you get them? Where'd they get in your body from? Were they passed on heretically? Maybe. Probably not. Like I say, if you're going to go barefoot down south, that's a dangerous thing. Really is. It is anywhere. People talk about this grounding. Why? Don't you feel connected to yourself? You know, anyway. Farmers for generations now have been medicating themselves with farm supplies, the same as what they give their animals, because they know the dangers of the infections that humans and animals can transmit to each other. It's been going on for hundreds of years. I get my head chopped off when I mention it by some that would rather have likes on her video than say, wow, I didn't consider that. Thank you. Wasn't easy to write either. I sat there for a bit and it's like, oh, it is cute. Should I say something? What would you do? What would Jesus do? Well, he'd probably ignore it like he does everything else. Because you all got free will. But that doesn't come true when you're harming other people. Your free will is up fucking window when you make an enemy out of me. It's a fact. Well, anyway, do I have a poor attitude? I didn't. I didn't going into that. It kind of turned into that after I thought about, well, if she would have kept her mouth shut, I would have been cool with it. She could have said, I'll leave your comment stand even though I don't like it. Or, um, like I say, thank you for the information. And then I would have wrote back, it's a very cute video, nonetheless, you know, but nah. So you can see what that's all about. Look at me, my kid's got a pony. Yeah, your kid's gonna die early, probably from diabetes, from the methane parasite mixture of throwing their blood sugar off because of you. Yeah, good job. Or heart disease of some sort, or bronchial asthma from the virus. That different parasites carry their own bacterium too. It's not just like a parasite's in you. the methane that comes off from their shedding and other bacterium that love that, like the decaying of the flesh where they're at, you then all of a sudden you have a whole host of parasites inside you just because of ignorance, you know. We have some really nice weather coming up this next week here, like 70s for, I mean, working outside type of weather. That'll be a good time to do it, I think. Like I say, I did some this morning, but not as much as I wanted to. I started getting pretty hot. Doug was out there working in a black t-shirt. I yelled out, "You got the wrong color t-shirt for today." So, but he's trying to melt away some pounds. He really has dropped a lot of weight. He was so big a couple years ago before he quit drinking. Might have been about 3 years ago now. He fell on the porch and I couldn't get him up. I could not. I'm strong too, and I could not get him. My arm was hurt, and um, between my injured arm, and I just could not. If I had both my arms, I would have been able to get him in the house. But I told him if it happens again, I'm going to have to call the police to help me because, or, emergency, because it was cold out. It was winter time, you know. Eventually, he did crawl in the house. So, but yeah, he's little enough now where I could just about give him a piggyback ride, you know. Anyway, so I was watching, I had to turn it off. I really couldn't stand any more of it either, but it was Stoica, which I really like, usually normally like his content. He had a person like him that are into certain levels of witchcraft and whatever, you know, and promoting that type of thing. Heard somebody else that's a Christian talking about playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and yeah, I get it. I get it. Hard to make up our mind what we want to be in this world, isn't it? And who we want to serve. It's not like I don't know anything about it. I used to play it. I've got a monster manual and dice and two decks of cards. They belong to my son in the other room. Um, and yeah, I actually would help him host games for him and his friends, you know. But that's before I knew how influential into the dark arts all this really was. It just didn't click with me at the time. I thought it was sort of just like um, there was a little cartoon called Dungeon Master, and I don't know. Even like with like Disney being the Magic Kingdom and all that stuff, and then with all Walt Disney's child predation stuff, even if you look at what Mickey's cap looks like, a phallus, and these types of things that you don't notice when you're a little kid, but it's subliminal in there. It's not very cool. So I had to just make up my mind and say, no, this is not cool. Thought about burning it all, but I don't know. Should keep the monster manual. There's somebody I heard that said that they had, like when they were reading the monster manual, that they think that they got possessed by demons because of reading the manual. I don't think so. Maybe. I'm pretty sure it was probably there already. Their demon, you know. So, you know the part in the scriptures where it said that Jesus cleansed Mary of 7 demons? What was that, her kids? What'd you do? Send them off to boarding school? Yeah, I think that's funny. Kind of like how to tame a narcissist. Can you really? Or they don't become full blown psychopaths because it's illegal and they know they would get thrown in jail. Otherwise, they would act on their impulses because they're very impulsive people. Yeah. So you really can't tame one, um, as far as I know. It hasn't worked for me, but the threat of jail works. And most narcissists I know have done jail time because of their ill-tempered ways, so, or their conniving ways, one of the two, or both. Yeah, I hope My Little Pony over there wakes the hell up. I don't care if they like me or not, you know. I didn't write it for the dumb things that kept that post up there for likes. I wrote it for the other people that think that that might be a good idea to give their kid a popsicle, or I've seen people giving their dogs like ice cream. And do you worm them after you give them the sugar? I don't know, just wondering, you know. It's really something to consider because um, if you don't fast and detox, like cleanse your system from the things that come into us from other, areas, whatever the areas may be, um, if you don't have a way to expel that out of your system, it's going to accumulate. Those worms will keep growing. And like I say, it can lead to all kinds of health conditions, I would say. And I'm not an expert on rheumatoid arthritis, but I have heard from experts that you can clear up a lot of that pain and swelling by detoxing and fasting and doing a parasite cleanse, because a lot of times, even with eye problems or skin or hair problems, that's what's going on, you know. Like if you get like staph infections, which would be like pimples or things on your skin that teenagers have or whatever, and you're going around touching everything, pretty soon it's not staphylococcus anymore, it's streptococcus, which is in your tissue inside your body, and it's harder to fight. And that's when it turns into things like MRSA, you know? So I'm really just trying to help people, to inform them, you know? And there's pinworms, that's real common in children. The pin and the hookworms have a lot to do with cats, especially hookworms. If you get like a cat's saliva, or if they scratch you, or you know, you probably have them. If you're, and even if you uh, worm your animals, they still get they get them. It's natural in them. It shouldn't be, but it is. You know, like I say, I'm not just trying to be like out here and pointing out everything that's wrong in the world and whatever. That really isn't my intent. I didn't want it to be anyway. But when I see stuff like that, I can't just let it go, you know? If somebody would have told me that when I was a little kid, I would have known it and it wouldn't have happened to me. The more people are informed in these things that happen inside our bodies, you see very obese people, it may not be just what they're eating. You're going to have swelling and parasites from different things that we do ingest. And if you're not aware of that, you're going to get sick from it. That's when you have health problems, you know. You could put on other people's clothing and get parasites, you know. Or like if you buy used shoes and they had athlete's feet, some people have such fungal infection in their system, even pills don't work to combat it. And especially speaking of combat, ones that were in like um, wartime situations and couldn't take their boots off, and they suffered for it. But, and a fungal infection will, your hair might fall out. I know from experience from my allergies. You know. But if you know what's going on and you can take care of yourself, you know, that's my point. So I was able to get another rose today. So I'll show it to you up close just a minute here. Not pretty. Smells better than it looks. Well, I don't know. It looks pretty anyway. But yeah, I did try to grow long stem red roses and baby breath. I was going to grow them for our local florist shop, but I could not get them going when I first moved here, um, like 34 years ago, or going on 35. Well, it was 90, so 34. Um, and I just couldn't get them to take. They really take a lot of care. My grandma grew red roses in Texas, in Austin, which is basically without shade. It's a desert, but there was a big chestnut tree, or no, wait, pecan in the backyard. And she had a little greenhouse. But I'm always amazed when I see people growing roses in arid places like that, dry desert places, because, yeah, you can't have too much water for them, but they need some kind of moisture, you know. Anyway, well, I'm gonna get this uploaded. Yeah, that's what's on my mind today is taking care of ourselves and realizing that a lot of things that we encounter, and like I say, it could be through birth, that our parents had parasites and passed them on to us. There's things in our system. If it's not caught, it's going to turn into dis-ease in our bodies, you know. And that's how we guard against it, is by, see, that's why when this poof thing came out, and there was oh, I don't remember the name of the one medication, but the one I just mentioned for horses, different livestock, that would help with this disease, or uh, so-called plague type stuff that they were saying is out there and whatever. Um, but there's stuff that can actually help eliminate that, and you can get a prescription from your doctor for that. You know, did you know when you go to the doctor and you have a blood workup that they know there's parasites in your system? And there's so many, like on the scale, there's so many counts that you can have of these different organisms in your blood, and they'll just pass it through, you know, so normally. Very, very seldom, if you were to ask your doctor for something to rid yourself of parasites, they're not going to help you. And that should be a big red flag for everybody. That should send off alarms. Why? Why don't they want people to be healthy? You end up having more health concerns because of what doctors could actually protect people from, but they don't, because if they can keep you diseased, they can keep selling medicine to you that doesn't rid you of it. It just sugarcoats the um, symptoms. It doesn't eliminate them. What you want to do is eliminate them, but not too quick. Did you know if you do a parasite cleanse too quickly, that it can actually shock your system, and whatever you're trying to rid yourself of can come back in force, and then it will be even harder to get rid of. So, like, start slow if you get like any kind of cleansing or detox or fasting, and then work your way up to a bigger situation of that. You like I say, I'm not a total expert, but I'm feeling pretty strong, and I know a lot about what I'm talking about, so that should be expert enough. But anyway, you know, anyway. but I don't have a veterinarian license. But I did work for a vet, and I worked on ranches. And oh, one other thing, I saw somebody else had written, and I've seen the post before, that nobody wants the field worker, like picking berries type of thing, to let they're not immigrants, they'll illegal have them. Well, no, excuse yourself, because I picked berries. Doug picked berries and worked on farms. I worked for a trucking farm 2 different times, and I've worked on ranches several times. And without a social security number and card, nobody has any business in our country working, taking jobs that other people actually, even our parents had worked as farm laborers. So no, this person who has never evidently worked in agriculture or farming of any kind, yeah, you'd rather have somebody come from another country so you can eat a strawberry, you know? Or we used to even go out, and I had a machete, and I'd chop corn out of the soybeans so people would have soy. Because if you don't get the corn out of there when it's harvest, it wrecks your crop. So we would take fields that were like 150 acres, or I mean 100 or 50-acre fields, and get paid so much for doing that field, that type of thing. So yeah, I've worked as a um, field worker, and so these people that never have, yeah, it's not easy. Who wants to? No, it's you're hot, you're tired, there's no reprieve from the burning sun on your flesh, but you're working your ass off to feed your family, you know. So, and I've worked beside illegals before in the construction field in different places, and I don't begrudge people to earn a living, and if they get a green card, that's cool, and if they can become a citizen, that's cool too. But there's people that are still homeless in our country, and before we take care of any illegals, like $4,000 a month for people that come in illegally, when there's people out there that live on less than $1,000 a month and they're citizens, if even that. I know people that are struggling even worse than that, you know. So I'm going to get this uploaded. I love you all, and I do appreciate you joining me. Hey, tell me your thoughts. Would you share your food with a different species? And do you think that there's anything not wrong with it? Well, I'm pretty much, I can rest assured that you know that this woman was totally out of place, even answering anything to what I wrote. She should have just left it stand or said thank you for the information, and put her big girl pantyhose on and act like a woman instead of some kind of thing that's just out there for her likes, you know? So, okay, everybody. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.